All right, everybody, welcome back to Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation. Ooh. No, I'm just kidding.
Dang. Made me get spooked already, boy.
Don't witch me now.
Dang.
The witch.
I'm going to have to check my Hutabagas now. No.
No, but if you don't know, I'm one of the hosts, Russell Sun Eagle.
I'm Tyler Randall.
And I'm Chris Hill.
Yep, and we're here to talk more about a lot of stuff, actually. But we have some stories from online, so thank you, everybody, for sending in your stuff.
Yeah, Mado.
And we're just going to read them and then probably just conversate about them and then might talk about more movies. I don't know. We just kind of, we have a subject we talk about, but then we just talk about other things too. So I enjoy it. Yeah.
It all comes back to the old Primal Rage.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Don't get me started now. Did you guys watch that, though?
Yeah, you know it.
Yeah.
Dang.
Was,
I left out that episode, bought it, and then watched it, and then watched it again.
That was a bad movie, though.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think you and I was talking about it online.
Yeah.
It's like, did he do what I think he did in that cave?
Yeah.
With that girl?
Yep.
Yeah, he sure did.
So my buddy, from Rob from Classic Wolf podcast, I told me, like, he heard our episode and he's like, I'm gonna watch that movie, and I was like, yeah, do it. I was like, let me know what you think, and then after he didn't even say anything, he just said, "Dang!" Like a couple hours later, dang.
Yeah, man.
And then he went to that scene in the cave and he sent me that on Snap. I was like,
He's doing it Biggie style.
I was like, dang. He's like, "Dang, I didn't know some movies like that." I was like,
He
Me
was
neither.
chief in that movie, boy. He didn't play around. He didn't ask nobody. He just did what he want to do.
I was like, "Oh my god."
I want to do an episode breakdown on that too, because man, I mean, they was calling him Oma. I mean, they had a lot of native elements to it, you know. And,
I like his mask,
yeah,
the mask he wore, the gear.
yeah.
I mean, he was just Rambo'd out.
yeah, and there's a keen making of documentary on there too. That talks about the guy who made it, the movie, the guy that directed it. He was in the suit, and they showed that suit. Man, that suit was crazy.
Really?
I mean, all the, you know, it was like all practical effects. And they had like these string of wires like this coming out of the back of it to move his face and move his mouth and stuff, like a little remote control. It's
Oh,
crazy.
wow.
It's cool. It's real cool. But yeah.
I didn't know they had a, what'd you call that, after the movie?
Yeah, it was like a making of. It's on the DVD because I had to have a physical copy of that thing. Cause, yeah. And it might be a commentary. I'll have to check it out. But I always watch those kinds of things. I just got to know. I had to know who made that movie. You know what I mean?
Was he
Like,
Indian, though? I know he was. I know he was. Don't say he wasn't. I know he was.
Well,
He was his Comanche or cow or something.
For the sake of the show, we're going to give him that honorary title. You know,
All right.
we're going to give him that blanket.
Give him that Chiefs robe, boy. That buffalo robe. Headdress, even. Oh.
Yeah, he's got a special place in all our hearts on this show. But yeah. So, I mean, we always talk about that movie, but go watch it.
Go watch it.
Primal Rage.
If you're out there and maybe you're a city Indian and you want to know how real Indians are, watch that movie.
That's crazy, man. That movie. I would have never known about it had you not brought it up.
That's the best one, man. I tell you what, that thing couldn't be beat. I know that. But
I always thought Harry and the Hendersons was the best
Oh, yeah, I
Bigfoot
remember
movie,
that.
but
Yeah.
not until I saw Primal Rage, because he's been doing some things that Harry wouldn't even be thinking about.
hey,
Did they make just one of those, or
Man, they should make a bunch of those, but
No, I
they
mean,
only made one.
Harry and Henderson?
Well, it was a TV show too.
Was it a TV show?
Yeah, they made it into a TV show, but they only did one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I never seen that TV show though.
I never seen it either.
Yeah, I think it only went for one season, probably. It was one of them.
I remember.
It's probably on YouTube.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I remember the movie a little bit. I haven't watched it since I was a kid.
That movie was good though.
Mm.
I got a buzz in my. Anybody else hear that? Was it your phone?
Probably. Oh yeah, because I'm about to read some stories.
Yeah. Well, Chris, you said you had a story you wanted to share with us about the last episode, which if you haven't checked that out, Haunted Dolls, go download that now. It's on fire.
This story comes from an individual. She didn't want to name her name or anything, but so I'll just say she's from Indian country, and that could be anywhere. And she wanted to share this story with me, and she said it'd be all right to tell this story, and I hope I do it justice, because she told this to me, and sometimes my memory's not always there, so you guys have to bear with me. And again, if I mess up this story or left something out, I blame that on Russell. No, no, I'm just teasing. But no, she said that her grandmother always collected dolls, and as a little girl, her grandma had this one kind of like, it was like a little closet type thing. It had all these dolls in it, and she said her grandma always said, you can play with any of those dolls if you want, just take good care of them, except for one. And she said that doll, it was kind of set up above all the other dolls on a high shelf. And she said, she always looked at that doll, and, she always wanted to play with it, because she wasn't able to play with it. So anytime you have something that, you're not supposed to play with, you definitely want it. But anyway, she would go and stay with her grandma, and and this room was in her grandma's room, and she said, growing up at her grandma's house, it was always a good time going over there. They'd braid each other's hair. She'd teach her how to cook and talk her language and tell her stories. And she'd always have a good visit over there. But at night, she noticed that her grandma would always take just a kind of like a meal offering to that doll room. She'd set out just a little bit from their meal. If you guys know about those I don't know how you say spirit plates, that's basically what she was talking about. And for some of you guys that don't know what spirit plates are, is they just take just a little bit from each thing that they were going to eat, and it goes to the the spirits, and they also put water. A lot of tribes, they practice this at their funerals. So anyway, like skip ahead, she would always in the evening time give that doll room a spirit plate. And she never knew why. She always thought, well, it's just kind of strange, but she knew what a spirit plate was for, but she never put one and one together. And sooner, as time went on, she got a little older, and then of course grandma passed away. And her mama, which was what do you call it? Her grandma's daughter, which was her mom, told her, said, the reason, her mom wouldn't allow nobody to play with that doll was because she had a sister that passed away when she was real little. And that doll was dressed up and fixed and looked like her sister that passed away. And like I was telling y'all before in that previous show, some people would do that, to give a spirit, time to utilize that. And So, she was still kind of young. Said she was probably around 13 at this time, when her grandma passed away. And, they had all these dolls. And there was a lot of, I guess, granddaughters and nieces that, belonged to that family. So they divvied up all those dolls to all those girls. But her mom was the oldest of all her siblings, so she kept that one doll. And so her daughter asked her, said, what's so special about that doll? And she told her, she said, well, when grandma, when they was growing up, she had a sister that passed away, and they kind of utilized that doll for her sister that passed away, and she believed to give that spirit of her sister, a spirit plate each night. And she said that when she was growing up, she would hear that thing move around, and talk and talk in their language, to her mom, and they would visit, and next morning, she'd ask her mom, who was she talking to? And she said, I was talking to my sister. And so, again, to me, her mom finally passed away, and that doll was still in that house. And, her mom took over after her grandma passed away, giving that thing a spirit plate all the time. So, when her mom passed away, they still had that doll, but she ended up putting that doll with her mom and burying her because she didn't want to, I guess, have to have those kind of spirits around. So anyway, that's a story that someone shared after I had posted, we were going to do this show, and if you guys got stories, that was one that came in. So I appreciate it for them sharing that story, and I thought it was a pretty awesome story. And again, I hope I did it justice, and I know I probably left something out, and again, I apologize for that. But
Wow.
Mado for sharing that. That was great.
That was a great story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for sending that. We're always looking for more stories. Yeah, I got one from a while ago. I didn't get to read it. I was supposed to read it in October, but I had this show lined up, and then it didn't happen. But I still got the story. So, Natalie Standing Cloud, shout out to you. I'm going to finally read your story. I know it's been like 6 months. But I told you I would read it.
She's like, dang.
I told you I would read it. So she says, so I was about 14 when this happened. I was asleep in my bedroom. My door is on the other side of my room. Caddy cornered to my bed. It was a normal night, just like any other night, until I woke up randomly. I wasn't scared awake, but I could feel someone watching me. In the doorway was a woman, or what I thought was a woman. She was definitely female. In a weird way, she was like a woman and a little girl at the same time. She was floating, and I was little, and was she was floating and was a little see-through, but she glowed at the same time like a light. She didn't seem like an alien or ghost. She just gave me angel vibes. I wasn't scared of her, but I asked what she was doing in my doorway looking at me. She said, I'm counting you. I was confused, and before I could ask her what she meant, she asked me if I wanted to come with her to count my mom, who in the bedroom at the other end of the trailer. Now, if you know me at 14, you would know that I'm really uncomfortable in the dark. But the bathroom light was on, and it lit up the hallway so I could see. And as I followed her out the bedroom into the hallway, I could see the kitchen light was on too, so I just walked towards my mom's room, following this white light entity. The lady was moving very slowly and floaty, but very quick at the same time, disappearing and reappearing as she made her way through the house. I made it to my mom's room, and then the flash happened and my eyes squinted as my mom turned her light on. She seemed really concerned, asking me what I was doing standing by her bed. I told her I was following a lady and turned to look towards my bedroom only to see complete darkness. There were no lights on in my house, so now I'm really awake and scared to walk back to my room alone, so my mom came with me. I put my hand on my mom's shoulder and she walks me to my room. I'm super tired and start to get sleepy again. We were almost to my room when my mom asked me if she walked through here, and I got super scared and said, "Who?" Because I'd already forgotten about my sleepwalk with that lady. I'll always wonder why we were being counted.
Good one. Good one.
Any thoughts?
I like that story. That was pretty real. I mean, I don't know what else to say on that one. I'm just shocked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same here.
I wonder what that does mean. Counting.
Yeah, I don't know. You're being counted. Yeah. You want to come with me to count your mom?
All accounted for? Maybe.
Yeah.
You know, I could, you know, just thinking about that, you know, there's several ways of looking at that, you know, and you know, counted, you know, maybe she's telling her she's doing good, you know, you counted, you know, like that, you know, and so, you know, maybe that's what they're referring to, you know, sometimes you need to hear, you know, very often, especially in Indian country, you know, very seldom do you hear someone commending you on something, you know, and as an individual, you know, sometimes it's nice to just be acknowledged, you know, and I know I would appreciate that every once in a while instead of everybody dogging me for everything. No, but, but but yeah, you know, that's kind of what I'm thinking. To me, it's beautiful. You know, you're being counted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're one of the good ones. You know, that's the way I look at it. You know, unless I mean, I don't know, but you know, that's the way I look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never had an experience like that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a... Well, yeah. I've had some stuff, but not like... that ghost at Pawnee. But that was when I was a little kid. And I still can't... If I was really seeing something, or if I just... Because, you know, kids can see stuff anyways, so...
Yeah.
You're so... Not vulnerable, but... You're so, like... Pure, I guess, right? Like, you don't really understand enough about it to even realize what you're looking at, I guess, or seeing or talking to or something. Like, you're just kind of communicating with it.
Yep. I know, you know, I've done several ghost investigations all over the place, you know, for a long time, you know, and you'll be amazed on what messages come across. You know, I mentioned this before, you know, I've heard some pretty heartbreaking messages, you know, to their loved ones, to family members, you know, and also heard stories of, you know, don't be like me, you know, type stories. And to me, those are real hard hitters because, you know, not only is it hard for that family member or loved one to hear it, but, you know, it's also hard for the investigator to hear. You know, if you got a true investigator out there that understands what they're doing, you know, getting these messages across and being able to do something with them is a total different thing. And to me, that's what ghost investigation's all about. It's whether to prove if it's real or not real, and if you do get a message, who's it for and why. You know, things like that. You know, you see all these ghost shows and everybody's in there just wanting to holler around and do all this stuff, and you know, they don't stop and think, you know, that could be someone's mom, someone's dad, brother, sister, or sometimes, you know, a friend, you know, or someone that meant a lot to someone, you know, and these messages might be confirmation or might be something telling someone, about something, warning them, for example, I had been on this one ghost investigation, and I don't know, again, we're all humans, we all make mistakes, we all, people really don't know people till you really know them. And this individual was I guess what you might say, a prominent spiritual leader within this one Indian community. And on the outlook, you think he was this up and up guy, but when he passed away, he passed away in a fast and sudden way. And that spirit of that man, came and, basically told us that, tell my family, my daughters, not to be like me. He said, I made a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of wrong, and I should have been better at things. And, I don't want them to make the same mistakes as I did. That's basically what that spirit said. And, come to find out, this guy was a heavy drinker, and smoker. And, again, that old saying, you might lie to me, you might lie to everybody, but, one person you're not going to lie to is the Creator. He's going to know. And, we all meet our end. And during that time, that's when we'll be judged. Whether you believe that Christian way or that ceremonial way. That ceremonial way was actually more strict than that church way. Nowadays everybody thinks that ceremonial way is all slack, and church is more strict, but no. Back then, those old Indians had old, strong ways, and you were supposed to follow those ways. They weren't like the church where you can ask for forgiveness. No, these ceremonial Indians, they were to the book. You did something wrong, you didn't live right, that you're gonna get what's coming to you. And if you harmed or hurt individuals, then you really gonna get it. So, sometimes those messages that you get, it's up to you to try to get it to that individual if you know of them or whatever. And sometimes these families don't want to hear stuff like that. They want to believe what they want to believe. But when it comes from that individual per se, then, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. Looking at Tyler.
Yeah. No. Well, you said you did some paranormal investigations, and I got a story. It's a brief story that was sent to me by a friend of mine that I had gone to elementary school with. So shout out Matthew Frazier if you are listening. He said that he was in an old orphanage in Guthrie. And do you know of any orphanage that's in Guthrie that you know of? Because I don't know which one he's talking about, because this is all I got.
Guthrie's has a several it has a famous haunted one that you hear on its own Ghost Adventures and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so there is one up there in Guthrie.
He says it's now a bed and breakfast, and there's an old hospital. He said it was all out of control. I said, well, zoom in. He said, I can't. But anyway, he says that the orphanage, I guess for whatever reason he was there, he didn't really go on into tell me that, but he said there was a shadowy figure that crossed in front of us in a hallway. And then it says it was clear as day. And then the second thing is in the orphanage. We was sitting up in the bell tower, looking out over the town, and kids started running down the hallway laughing. And he said that's really what scared us and got us the hell out of there. The hospital down in the basement area, there was what looked like a morgue. They still had tables in there, and we were just kind of walking around and talking, and then their lights started flickering. And he said there's no power at all there. And we hauled out we hauled out of there as fast as we could, and we never went back. And he said, but the orphanage, we did go back a few times. And that's the story that I got from him. So, yeah, I didn't know if there's any kind of haunting stories. I know Guthrie used to be the capital of Oklahoma for the longest time.
Oh yeah, there's several super haunted places there in Guthrie because of that. It's one of the oldest towns here in Oklahoma. But they also had like you said, an orphanage. And he's talking about the same one I'm thinking about, it was an orphanage, it was a hospital, it was several different things. But like you said, now it's a bed and breakfast. And they do ghost investigations there. And they also have a murder mystery thing that you can pay and go in there and do. So both of them I hear are pretty exciting. I've never had an opportunity to go. I've always wanted to, but I never got a chance to. But if that's the place he's talking about, yeah, it's well known. I mean, I think a lot of people go there, especially in Oklahoma. And again, like I said, Ghost Adventures did several places in Guthrie, and I think that was one of them that they did. And I think they also had an asylum there too, a big one, and I think it was also a jail or something like that. And I might have that confused, but again, I've heard several stories about Guthrie and the things that they have there, and I don't know why I haven't been over there, but I've always wanted to. I just never got that opportunity. But I'd love to go and check it out.
Yeah.
But
Man, I've never heard anything about Guthrie. That'd be interesting to go, check stuff out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can pull it up on your phone if you got it.
I got it right here.
And they do like a certain time of the. I don't know if it's time of year, but I know they start advertising for them. Those ghost hunts and those murder mysteries.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew there was a story because I went to school at OU, and there was I think it was all called Connections or something like that, right across the street and kind of down a little bit, about a block from the art museum or the art school there, where Fred Jones Museum is. It's just almost right across the street there. I don't know if y'all remember it or not, but it was big news when I was going to school there. Is one of the it was it wasn't a rehab, or I don't really want to use the term I don't really want to be all non-PC about it, but where they put mentally sick people.
Oh, asylum?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was the right word to use or not, you know what I mean? So I'm trying to really watch my language because I don't want to offend nobody out there.
I don't know the proper one.
But you know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
a psychiatric type of, or a rehab. I don't really know, but it was I think it was called Connections. Anyway, one night, I guess, one of the patients there beheaded his roommate, in the tub.
Whoa.
And he carried his head. And this is true. And he threw it away in a dumpster. And it was by this CD place, this music store that we all used to go to. I think it was called CD World, I think is the name of it. But anyway, so shortly after that happened, though, they shut that place down. And they, but I guess they just left all the furniture and stuff. And then at night, it's creepy because they just let it kind of get overgrown and stuff. The grass would grow up because nobody was taking care of the facilities no more. And people would tell, you could hear people tell stories that they would hear chairs sliding across the floor at night, inside there. Nobody that I know of, nobody was brave enough to go in there, but you might hear moans or people talking, but they were supposed to be empty. And there might be a single light on. Just weird things would happen in that building. I haven't been down there in a long time, so I don't know what it is now. But it was a big pretty good sized building if memory serves correctly. You know,
I'd
but
have to go check that out. I'd like to see if I could maybe go in there. But, I know Norman itself, is a bad place because of OU. No, I'm just kidding. So you talking about OSU now? It's all right. No, I'm just kidding. Oklahoma State Cowboys, go Pokes. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so I know your aunt would agree with me.
yeah,
So,
she sure would.
yeah,
And my cousins.
so you got a lot of alumni come around here, so we're gonna represent on there. No, I'm just kidding. But I know what I was gonna say about Norman is they have several places. We did a couple of ghost hunts up there in Norman, and that one little strip, they got like a little stuff like you were explaining. They even have a Bigfoot store there, and I think there's an old theater. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, there was like the Sooner Theater.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
the Sooner Theater.
And that's supposedly super haunted. We went in there, and the thing on a lot of these ghost investigations, sometimes you can be in there all night and not catch anything, or you may not catch nothing on audio or video, but you might have your personal experience, or you might see something or hear something, and I think that's pretty cool. I think when we were there, we did have experiences, but we never really caught anything on camera or audio. I got one picture of that famous barber shop there on that strip, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, it's just super distorted. Looks like lightning bolts all through it. I was going to post it on my Instagram coming this week, kind of showcase where I've been. But, I know people probably look at all this and all that, but I just say, all y'all. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, Norman has a lot of places. But the thing, one of my nephews went to school there too, and he always talked about the library there.
Yeah.
And he has a picture of something that he caught in the library, and I've heard, several students, had, some unusual videos and hickeys coming from out there. No, I'm just kidding. Well, no,
It's all the ghost cold sores.
Dang, I don't know about that, but anyway, but no, he did have an unusual picture of an apparition on his phone in the library,
Yeah.
and I was told that a lot of people have seen it, caught video of it, and they even caught voices there at that school library. So, I do know, Norman, just like any other place, has a lot of spooky places. But, as far as we went, we did that couple of those businesses on that strip. One of them was the theater, and then this barbershop. And there was another store that we did over there. And out of all three locations, we didn't really catch anything on video or audio, but we did get a lot of people that went with us on that tour all experienced something. So again, I thought that was a pretty cool place. And if you're down in Norman, I know they have several different ghost tours, take you to the places, at least let you know which one is which, and then it's up to you to kind of figure out if you want to go in there and follow up. But yeah, there's a lot of cool places there in Norman that is, I guess how you say, super active.
Yeah. Well, there's a book that was self-published, and I have it. It's just called Campus Ghost Stories. And man, I've had that book for a long time. I read it when I first got it, but nothing out of memory just sticks out, other than just typical stories, But I'll have to pull that book out and maybe check it out. But yeah, it's about campus. It's about Norman. It's about OU, and just all the people seeing stuff in the dorms, and like you said, the library and some of those old places down around Campus Corner.
Yeah, I also heard the what is it? The School of Law, or what do they call it? The law school up there. that building is supposed to have a couple of apparitions that roam that.
Yeah.
Now, I haven't seen any pictures or anything like that, but I've heard a lot of stories that
Yeah.
come from that way. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I only know that the scariest place that I could think of in Norman is my friend David's bathroom. No, I'm just kidding. There's some real evil.
Had that chupacabra
Locks you in there.
sitting in that bowl like that. Well, after that quesadilla.
Yeah.
Out of here. Trapped in there.
Yeah. There's some real evil spirit in there, man. I've been in there.
I've
Passed
seen
out in there.
I've seen those chupacabras down at work, boy, and those O's, boys. Looking at, sometimes you have to fight them with those brushes, boy, to get in there. Boy. Do that old kung fu.
I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right.
I'm not. Those are for real, boy. After Taco Tuesday, boy, you better watch out. No,
Tarahumaras, man, will get you. That spirit.
Did you ever see anything at Norman or at the dorms?
No, not really. But I tell you what, there's some creepy old houses down around there. I know that much. I lived in one, and there was I lived in a house off University. I think it was 509. Why I remember that, I have no idea. But it was this old house that had been converted into apartments, and you basically like rented a room out of this old house. And I don't know, there's just like a lot of bad stuff that happened. And I used to kind of date one of the girls that lived in the attic, because you'd have to go up these stairs, and it was just like this big flat area.
was she real? No, I was gonna say
Dang, I
she's
know.
in the hot attic.
Well, we call her Polly, urethane, but no, I'm just kidding. We had to deflate her at the end of the night.
Whoa.
Hey, now those are those kind of haunted dolls you don't want to hear about. No,
Haunted dog.
yeah, keep your show clean like that, boy.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, for real though, like you would lay up there at night though, and you would hear like scratching, and she always, it's just mice, or it's just squirrel or whatever. But I don't know, man. Like I just know that like the back fence, like there's this place called Othello's, and it was literally like in the back, just back behind there. It was like this bar, and everybody went there, and I don't know. It was just, that's where it was at, and you'd always hear like scratching and things like that. I remember laying in bed one night, and I had a poster like on my wall, and man, that poster, it felt like something was behind that poster, and it kind of reminded me, kind of sat up and turned the light on. Man, you could see that poster kind of like move up, kind of reminded me of like that old Tom and Jerry, when the mouse runs underneath the carpet, that little, you know what I'm talking about? And like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it had that little bulge or whatever, but you could kind of see it like working its way up all the way to the top of the poster, and it just stopped.
Dang.
So that's like the only like creepy thing that I experienced, and it only happened that one time, other than just like being up there in that attic apartment and just hearing scratching at night and stuff like that. But she just said, it's just squirrels, or it's just mice, and I just thought, man, I want to wake up with like a squirrel.
Roaches.
Man. So this one, Oklahoma roaches too. Boy, look like dress shoes walking up that wall.
He's in there making a cup of coffee. Morning.
Sitting at the table, legs crossed.
Well, people don't realize, or I don't know, universities and schools, where people had to stay the night, at dorms and stuff, majority of these places are haunted, because you had students either commit suicide or they overdosed on something, way back then, or, so, with that being said, a lot of schools, have hauntings, and, to me, it makes sense because you got these young guys that are so stressed out, and maybe the life's gotten to them, and and they done something to themselves. So to me, it only makes sense that a lot of these schools or universities are haunted. I used to work in education, and I'd go to like these different schools for different conferences and different meeting the students and stuff like that, trying to get them signed up for scholarships and whatnot, and you know, again, me being me, I'd always ask, the locals, about ghost stories and stuff like that. And dang, every one of those campuses I went to, they would talk about a dorm or one of the schools. And of course, you come to find out someone died in there, from whatever reason. And so, a lot of those hauntings, they do have, I don't know what you would say, documentation that someone did pass away in a bad way. So, with that being said, when they pass away like that, sometimes they can't move on, and without assistance. And so, I'm not saying that they can't move on, but sometimes they need a little help. So, to me, it makes only sense. A lot of these universities are like that, and I've been in a situation where I've been lucky to visit a lot of these places and hear those stories and actually go see these haunted places on campus. And anyway, but I'm always excited to hear new ones and learn more. So if the listeners out there might have a old school story, that they might have went to school or wherever, send that in. I know, a lot of them probably have old boarding school stories. I know, people don't think of it, but, I know there's still Indians that go to boarding schools, even to this day. They're not as prominent as they used to be, but there still are Indian boarding schools out there. And so I know people's probably got stories of those too. And so, that's.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got one from IA. But I understand it because it was a brand new dormitory they built. Because there was the lower ones. Well, the first one, I guess, when they first began, they were called casitas. But I never had anything down there. Like people would talk about this shadow thing jumping from roof to roof, and it was like this giant shadow or whatever. But I never seen it. I never seen it. I never heard anything. The one thing I did hear one time, I'll tell that after, but it was like after I moved out from those dorms, and we lived in these new dorms, brand new dorms, and it was like I think it was my first semester in there. I don't know. I got done with something. I think seeing my friends or something. No, I was tired. I went to my room and I put my iPod on and put my headphones on, and my roommate was gone somewhere. I think he was in the studio painting or something. And I was like, I'm tired. Like, I'm gonna go to sleep. And then I just put my headphones on and I put my iPod on and I shut my lights off. And I like it dark. Like I pitch out. Like I make everything pitch black. Like I like it dark. And there's no lights or anything in there, so I'm just laying there, and I'm like, just jamming out, and I'm like, just kind of distracted from the song. And anyways, like my bed is to the wall, and there's a light switch, so there's a light right above your bed, and then there's the actual like room light, and so I'm just laying there. And on my bed, like, my eyes are closed. So I couldn't see if anybody came in or not. But on my bed, it was like somebody sat down, like, right by my leg. And you could feel when you're laying in bed and there, you could feel somebody sit down and you could feel that weight shift. And so I was like, it's probably, Charles or somebody, Because I leave my door open. Like, I leave my door open. We all left our door open and we just walked into each other's rooms and just hung out. And then, anyways, I took my headphones off, and it was still dark. And I said, "What's up?" And then nobody said anything, and that weight was still there. And I was like, "Hello?" And then nothing answered, and I turned that light on, and like nothing was there. And the bed shifted up, like it got up like right before I turned the light on, like, and then I turned the light on real quick, and I was like, oh wow, I was like, whoa. So I was texting everybody, and then just went and hung out in my friend's room because I was kind of freaked out. And I went back after my roommate. I texted my roommate. I was like, when you come back? He said, "I'll probably a couple hours." And I was like telling everybody what happened. And I was like, damn, am I tripping? I was like, am I tripping? I was like, I don't know. I don't know if that was real or not. I was like, am I tired? Am I too tired? I don't know. But I remember that. I remember like an actual like weight. It wasn't heavy. It was just like a average sized person sat there, and they were just sitting there. And then I took my headphones off, and I was trying to talk, and luckily nothing answered back. I was like, what's up? Who is that? Nothing answered me, and I flipped my light on. And there's another time where we were at this lady's casita. We all hung out over there, and I think we were telling ghost stories. I think we were. And then like behind the casitas, there's like an open field. There's an open field, and then like beyond that, there's some houses. And then pitch black in that field. Like, no, you can't see anything. Anyways, we're like talking, and we're telling like some ghost stories, and the lights are on, and I think there's like 9 of us in that room. And then somebody's telling a story. I can't remember what they're talking about. And then all of a sudden, like, you hear this baby crying, like an actual like baby cry from that field. And it's like, it's kind of faint. Somebody heard it, and they go, "Shut up, everybody, shut up." And it got real quiet. You could hear like in the distance, like way out there, and we're like, "Is that a baby?" And then somebody's like, "I'm gonna go find it." And I was like, no. I was like, hold on. I was like, wait. I was like, that can't be. Nobody has a baby around here, like an actual like infant, because everybody had kids, but they were like 5 years old and up. Like, this was an actual baby crying. And then this person was like, "Man, what if it needs help? Like, what if?" And I was like, hold on. Like, wait, just everybody chill. Like, everybody, like, we're all like chilling out. And then it stopped. And then when it started up again, it was closer. Like, it moved from way out there to, I'd say about midfield or something. But you could tell it's closer. And then we just sat there and like listened to it. And it cried for like 5 minutes. And it stopped again. And then I think his name was Steven, I think. He's like, "I'm going to go out there. I'm going out there. Who's coming?" I was like, hold on. I was like, well, if it starts crying again, maybe we should go out there. And I kid you not, man. It started again. It was right by the window. Right by that window where it was open. Like, it was open, but there's a screen on it. But it was like right there. Like, because there's the house, there's a road, and there's like a ditch. And I think it was right in that ditch. And I was like, bro, something's playing with us, man. Like, it knows we hear it. And he was like, "Let's go look. It's right there." And I was like, no. I was like, it moved all the way from over there. Like, no baby's going to get up and walk over here. Like, it was an actual, like, infant crying. And then it stopped, and then we never heard it again. And that was like, we talked about that for like weeks. And we kept asking her, we're like, "You hear that? Do you ever hear that again?" And she's like, "No. Like, I don't hear anything like that." And we're all like, there's no babies around. Like, why would a baby be in a field? And how would it move? Somebody said it might have been a panther. But I don't know if there's panthers over there. You know, because panthers sound like babies. Yeah, to try to lure you. But I don't know. It just seemed like it could have been a panther, but I don't know. Like, maybe it could have seen our lights, the housing or whatever, and walked over there. But I don't believe that. Like, I think it was like something else. Like, because somebody was saying, well, it could have been, I forgot the name of it, but to lure you out there and to take you away or something like that. That's what that one guy was like, "Let's go out there." I was like, no, dude. Like, hold on. If we're going out there, we're all going out there. All 10 of us.
Let me write a letter.
But yeah, we never heard it again, and she never heard it again, and there was no stories. Like, we're waiting on a story from the paper, Nothing at all. And yeah, that was like 2011. Never heard anything. Never to this day, like nothing about that. So I was like, and then we like went ghost hunting one time, but I think we just freaked ourselves out. We went around the whole campus, and I think we just freaked each other out.
I've been to that campus before.
Yeah.
And it's kind of got that desert feel to it, you know. But that area has a lot of history too. Where that school was built. You had a lot of old tribes that was, homelands to that area, and so I believe maybe what you heard was real. Panthers do make that sound, but how often are they going to come to a highly populated area?
True.
And of course, I know they got pretty good security over that way. So again, it'd be hard for something like that to kind of, not to say it's impossible, but like I said, I've been over to that campus. Especially that center part. Where they have the dances and stuff. And
the circle.
Yeah, to me, it's just too active, and even around those dorms, it just too much going on, but, again, who's to say, but, for me, I'd definitely keep my mind open, so.
Yeah. I hear Haskell's really haunted.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of stories coming out of Haskell. They've got several dorms up there that they say is just super haunted. So I've been up there a few times, for different dances and stuff like that, and that's just the old school, and no telling what all was there. Some places like that, you're not dealing with just spirits, but you're dealing with I don't know how you say, medicine type issues at that school, and that's why I think sometimes, they always say it's a rough school to go to, and I think, a lot of that has to do with that, that, because I've heard a lot of my friends and relatives, and, like I said, I worked in education at one time, and I used to send students up there, and their success rate wasn't too high there. There was a lot of things that went on up there, and and when they would come back, I would talk to them, say, hey, what happened, and most of the time, of course, majority of them would say partying, partying got out of hand, but then you'd have those few stories that, either something was bothering them up there or something was in their dorm, and so, I've always heard stories about Haskell, and, again, I heard stories about Bacone, too, Bacone College, their dorms, there are a lot of stories, and again, that's an old Indian campus, originally old Indian campus, and anyway, you've got a lot of history there, too, and, like I said, I just find, most of these universities, they all have ghost stories, and I think those are the coolest, because depending on what university you go to, you got some of your former leaders of the U.S. that went to some of these, especially these Ivy League schools, and the horror stories that come out of those universities, are pretty awful, what they do to each other, and what they call that when they try to get them into fraternity and sorority.
Like hazing?
Hazing, the hazing used to be like out of the ordinary, just crazy, some people, got, taken out by some of that hazing, and so I think now most of that super bad hazing is supposed to be banned from schools now.
Yeah.
So now
But you know it still goes on.
Oh yeah, you know.
There's all them secret societies up there. I mean, I've always wanted to know because my nephew, he goes up to Dartmouth, and I think Ian from Native Film Talk also went to Dartmouth. They talk about like how many high native population they have there in those old Ivy League schools. Like what you're saying, you said there's got to be some stories out there, concerning things like that.
Yep. I've heard stories that come out of even Yale and Harvard. They got books on the hauntings of those schools, and so to me, I mean, like, man, you would think these Ivy League schools would act better, but sometimes they're the worst ones. Especially when it came to like hazing and stuff like that. Some of their, like you said, those private organizations, they're kind of rugged.
Yeah.
So,
man, yeah. If anyone has any dorm stories, I never thought of that. Like, I just recently remembered my time at IA because I've been talking to my friends a lot about IA, and I just remember that, like, my experiences with that, and they're bringing up the ghost hunting thing, and I think we did just freak each other out with that. But there was one part where the new cafeteria, and then me and my friend Natani were outside, and we're like looking up at the roof because there's this. It sounded like somebody stomping up there, and I put it off as the electrical turning on for the fridge or something like that. But it sounded like somebody stomping up there, and then we noticed it would stop, and then when we pretended to not notice it would start up again, and then all of a sudden, I don't know. Now looking back on it, maybe it was real, but it seemed like it got really quiet when we I think we questioned it or something. Like we tried to do it again, because we were just young dudes or whatever. But really trying to make it do something, and it didn't do anything. And I think we said see, it ain't nothing. And all of a sudden it went like something was running, about to jump off of the roof, and we took back off inside in the RA office. I think RJ was working. Maybe it was Doug. I think it was Doug. And we ran in there, and we were like, put the cameras on the roof. And he was like, we don't have any cameras that go up there. And I was like, man, there's something up there. Like, something's up there, dude. And he was like, no, there's nothing up there. And I was like, we heard it. Like, we heard this stomping up there. And then when we provoked it, it seemed like it ran at us. He's like, no, that's the fridge, like the refrigeration and stuff. And we're like, it don't sound like that. And then we told the security guard, we're like, go up there. We're telling him to go up there and stuff. And he's like, I'm not going up there. But I mean, now looking back on it, I think that part was real, but other parts were just, how people, when you're investigating, then somebody, and they run. That's what we were doing the entire night. But that part,
dang guys, you guys are worrying me now. Hey, you got me on that refrigerator. I pictured right off those leftovers haunting me, bro. Just shaking that Tupperware, that old butter container, bro. Just trying to get out like that. No.
That old Chinese food box mystery. What is it? I don't know.
You want to say something scary when you open those old Indian containers, those old plastic, because you don't know what's in those plastic things. You don't know, it might be 3-year-old
dumplings, chicken and dumplings,
year-old wild onions sitting in there. No. You don't know what's in those buckets like that.
Could be butter.
I know, but then again, you might hit that gold mine. It might be that fresh meat gravy sitting in there. Open that one next to it, be a container full of fry bread. No. Then again, you never know. You might open that one right when you bust that lip, boy. That smell just hits you in the face, boy.
That bad spirit.
I know. Smoke it off, boy.
Oh my god.
But yeah, a lot of those schools, I'd like to go to, like a lot of those Boston colleges, where they were, when they first started, those are like super old schools, and I'd love to go to one of those and investigate. But the thing I hate is going to places where they've been investigated a lot. I like to go to places that haven't been investigated. Like I listen to a lot of these podcasts, and everybody, I'm going out to the cemetery. I'm going out to this mausoleum, where so and so was buried, and they, like Russ, will start running when they hear something or see something. They're like, dang, something's got to be there. You're going out there to find, you better don't be running from it. That's what you went out there for. Greet it, and take it on, or otherwise stay at home. But yeah, I always hear people say that. I went out to that cemetery and dang, something showed up and we was gone. I said, man, I don't know. That's in Skytook they have the witch's grave, there, and it's supposed to be this famous place. And anyway, everybody says they go out there and they experience stuff, and that witch will pick you up. You start floating in the air. And, it's supposed to be like super, super haunted place. So, I didn't want to go out there, because one, it's a cemetery. That's the city of the dead. Mm-hmm. That's their place. They're supposed to rest in peace. You don't go out there and be bugging them and stuff like that. But they said, no, you need to talk to this old witch, they say, she's got good information, she'll talk to you and tell you things. And I said, well, I probably don't want to know anything she's got to say. But anyway, I finally got talked into going out there. My curiosity got the best of me. Went out there and, I won't say we didn't experience anything, but, I didn't get to talk to no witch, like everybody says they get to, but I did hear a lot of things out there. But again, that's a cemetery. You expect to get something like, reaching in a barrel full of fish. You expect to stick your hand in there and pull out a fish, but that night we didn't catch anything. But anyway, I don't know. These schools and stuff like that, I'd love to kind of go to some of these places that haven't really been able to be investigated and check them out, And the school I would like to here in Oklahoma, I would like to go see. And, if anybody's listening, got contacts, I'd like to come to Northeastern State University and home of Cherokee country. And I want to come in there and I want to put a creek flag right there. No, I'm just kidding. No. No, I'm just teasing. No, I'd like to do an investigation of that, because I've heard, several stories of Northeastern State University being super haunted. The campus, the dorms, there's a lot of places there. Even in town, they say, certain times of night you can see things walking up and down those streets. And again, it's a college town. Yeah, a lot of youngsters go up there. Was a lot of suicides, a lot of overdose, a lot of rape victims that lost their lives, in that community. And so I don't know of anybody that has gone there and did a real investigation of the school. Now, there might be, I don't know, because, there's ghost hunters on every corner now. Mm-hmm. But, I would like to see, because, I've had several family members that went to school there, and they swear up and down, that place is haunted, and I even, like I said, when I worked in education, some of those people that I would send up there to school, they'd come back and they would tell me ghost stories, because they knew I liked those ghost stories, and they would say, hey, certain dorm, there was things that constantly walked in. It was black shadow. One of those dorms, I've heard from several different students that they have a black shadow that comes into that building, pretty frequently, and everybody sees it. And I've heard it from several different students. Again, they might be, sharing the same story, but for the most part, most of these guys there's an age difference in these guys. And so, to hear the same story from different, groups of individuals that don't talk to each other, there might be something there. I don't know. So if anybody's got any contacts, get me in, let me know. I'd love to come there and visit and see what we can find out there. I don't know.
Well, we've got quite a bit of stories. I mean, the people shared. I mean, I know but then you always get those ones that are always like, "Man, do I have a story for you?" Well, tell me.
I know, right?
And then ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the ones I want to investigate. The ghost stories that people were telling me all these great stories they got, and then when I ask them, then they don't respond back.
Yeah. I said, I got the best ones. Going to be the best one you'll ever hear. Yeah, I get that all the time. Or I get these, well, I shouldn't say crazy, but I'll say they're out of the ordinary. But, again, I know sometimes, the ones that are way out there are probably true, and so I can give you guys an example of one that I heard that made me think, I don't know about this guy. No. But, I said, I think that guy needs therapy. No, I'm just kidding. But after I kind of heard that story, I thought, well, yeah, it makes sense to me. So, okay, FYI, I done already said this is going to be a crazy story. So, I want people calling in or writing in saying what you're going to say. But anyway, okay. I'm not going to tell you the name of this individual. Russell. No, no. But, dang. No, I got called, and this guy was telling me, he said, I hear you into ghosts and stuff. And he said, I'm Onondaga. I'm from New York way. And I said, oh yeah? He goes, man, I got the most scariest story to tell you. He said, I'm gonna tell you this story, and if you ever get a chance, share it with people. And I said, I will. I said, yeah. And he had his wife on the phone too, so I knew, he had backup right there. So, he said, I lived on the Onondaga Reservation, and he said, I had taken some classes through the tribe, and I got trained in this manufacturing field. And he said, I got hired by a company in New York City. And he said, I'm married and I got a kid. And he said, that I had to, take it, because of my scholarship, try to pay for and stuff. And so they said, go ahead and take it, and, that's what we want. We want to make sure our tribal members get to work and stuff. And anyway, he went, accepted the job. They gave him some money to get an apartment and kind of get settled in. And of course, New York City is a big place, and they got different, what do you call it? Kind of like here, you got different communities, and he said, with where that manufacturing plant was and the money that he had, he could only afford, to kind of live in that area. And he said it was a rough area, and this was one of these real tall apartment buildings. And anyway, he said he moved in his family and got all situated and was working, and it was finally payday, So him and his wife and his kid, they went and got groceries, and got some movies, and got him rented himself a couple of games, some video games, and so he said all the bills was paid, got full groceries, got refrigerator full. And he said now it's my time. I worked hard, a couple of weeks, and said I really had a hard time. So wife cooked up real good, and they ate, and so it was about time to put baby to bed. Said told Mrs. go ahead and put that baby to bed, and said we're gonna have a night tonight. So anyway, she was putting the baby to bed, and so this was only a 1-bedroom apartment, because that's New York. Their apartments are pretty expensive, I was told.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, she went and put the baby to bed, and she come out back in the living room, and he had all his elements to relax. He had his 40 on the table, rolled his blunt, and started smoking, and started feeling good, and his wife was still, kind of cleaning up in that kitchen part, and he's sitting there, and he felt someone bump his left arm, and he wasn't thinking, he thought it was one of his friends, so he took that blunt and he passed it, and, he's sitting there playing, and he saw his wife standing in the corner of his right eye, and she just stopped and was looking at him, and he seen, somebody, breathe that smoke out and pass that blunt back, and he put it back, and he said he's really, sitting there, and his wife just started, screaming, so he turned and he said, "What's wrong?" And she pointed at, at the couch. So he turned and looked, and he said it was a young black guy, and said he was only from his torso, from his head to his torso. And he said at first he got mad because he didn't really comprehend what was going on. He thought someone might have broke in or what. And so he said, "What the heck?" He said, "You come in here and smoke my weed?" Just get mad. And he said that spirit got up off that couch and flipped his 40 over and spilt it, and then went through the wall.
Oh my God.
And he said that's a true story. And his wife was saying, "Yeah, it was. I was there. I seen it. And she was saying, that made them move out of that place, and they went back, to their reservation after seeing that, And, at first I kind of thought, well, dang, that's a crazy story, and smoking up his weed and then spilling his beer. I don't know, but then I thought about it, and I was told that sometimes people in this life, if they have cravings, if they died suddenly, they're still gonna have those cravings. And if you think about it, there's a lot of stories out there that relate to issues like that, substance abuse. There's spirits that like that alcohol or that smoke or even that weed, and so it only makes sense that, if they craved it in this life, they're going to want it in the next life, and in that spirit world. So, at first I thought, man, that I don't know if I'll ever tell that story, but, to me, after I thought about it, in that place that he lived, and if you ever been up in New York City, a lot of those real bad, low-income places, they're real rugged. And, of course, there's a lot of shootings, a lot of gang violence, a lot of things like that. So only makes sense, maybe, that guy, that spirit used to live there. Maybe he did die as a young guy, and maybe he still wanted to, this guy's partaking, and that's how they used to do it. So,
That's
maybe
what he wanted.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. But then he made him mad, so he had to spill his beer like that. Well, be talking to me like that. No,
You come back for it later.
I know that. We drinking it up off that. No.
Come back anytime I want.
Float underneath that table.
I'll smoke your weed whenever I want. No. But I'll drink your bud. Like, no.
I'm just like freaking out. Like if he just passed it, that
Yeah,
blunt just like floating.
Yeah, that's what I was picturing. Like,
I thought he was like hold it like this, or like he
man,
just like passed
he
it.
grabbed
out.
it.
Yeah, and
That's crazy.
I was sitting there thinking, man, is that? I mean, I don't know, but again, you can't ever doubt some of those things because evidently this guy he really, and if you're listening, by some chance, I'm again apologize, but I will say that was definitely a good story to hear, and after I thought about it, I know there are stories that some spirits do like that drink, do like that smoke, and sometimes just like that spirit plate, they still can partake, and so if that spirit plate is doable, then how come these other things aren't doable?
Yeah,
True.
So
that's true.
anyway, after I thought about it, I thought, dang, that is a pretty cool story. But
Yeah.
at first, when I first heard it, I thought, oh my God, man, I don't know. But
It's a little deep.
I know it. I said, dang, I take it that far. But yeah, he said, dang, he said, after I comprehended, he said it scared me, and of course, it scared his wife, and so they went back, and that was that. So.
Wow. That's a good one.
That is a good one, man.
That's a good. I didn't know where it was going.
That's not how I thought it was going to end, though.
Yeah, I didn't. Well, I didn't. I mean, you mentioned the blunt. I thought it was just something, maybe video game wise, like a character was doing something weird. But when you said past it and then he thought it was his buddy, I was like, no way.
It looked like one of those old scary movie. What they call those comedy movies?
Yeah, the parodies.
Parodies, yeah. I was like, dang, it looks like oh no. That's what I pictured in my head when he was telling me that. Because I have a real vivid imagination. So if you're telling me a story, I can picture it in my head.
Yeah.
And when he was telling that, that's the first thing I thought was that scary movie. I think they have a scene like that.
Yeah, they do. Kind of.
I said, dang, I don't know.
It's with that ghost from Scream, I think.
Oh yeah, the ghost face.
Ghostface,
He's
yeah.
smoking weed with.
Because his face
Shorty.
is all scary. And
Yeah.
then they show it back and he's like all
Jesus.
buzzed out.
Yeah. Dang.
But was he a ghost or was he just a murderer?
He was a
He was a
murderer.
murderer, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I could same thing. Oh man.
But yeah, I get some wild stories out there. But again, I don't mean any disrespect, and like I said, if that's what you believe, then that's what you believe. I know I've had experiences too that and I know ain't nobody gonna believe, and sometimes I don't even believe. But again, I know those possibilities out there, and I won't say I know everything. I'm still learning. And so for me to keep that open mind, I definitely try my hardest to keep an open mind because I think a lot of people, they always say everybody has that ability to see these spirits and talk to them, but it's us as an individual that either has a closed mind. And people use all this ghost equipment, but they say your true self is the best equipment that you could ever use. We've all had that scary feeling. We all know when something bad's going to happen. We all know when something good's going to happen. So we all can tap into that supernatural thing, but it takes us to keep that open mind so we can see these things and hear these things and possibly even communicate with these things. So if you're out there and you're thinking about going out, and having to go talk to ghosts or whatever, remember, have an open mind and be respectful, because someday we're all gonna be in that realm. And if you don't want nobody hollering at you and making you do tricks, then don't ask that of them as well. And so I think if you follow that, of course, it doesn't always work. There's people that was mean in life, they're going to be mean after death. So sometimes there comes a time when you have to stand your ground and kind of be forceful. But for the most part, these are lost souls out there, and they're scared more than you are. And so you got to put that in perspective. So if you are wanting to really truly go out and find these answers, go out there with an open mind, and in a good way, and hopefully you'll be able to communicate with them and get the answers that you want. But then again, you better be careful, because you might get the answer that you don't want too.
Yeah, I believe that guy's story.
Yeah.
If it made them move out, then yeah, because that would freak me out.
That'd freak me out too.
Yeah, especially like the way he described it, head, torso.
Yeah.
Man. But yeah, anybody has any stories? Send them our way.
Yeah.
Anything scary, spooky, cryptid, whatever. We'll read them and we'll talk about them and have a good time.
Yeah. Rowdy Dilbeck, I am still waiting on your Bigfoot story.
Send us that story, please.
Even if you got that story of that one babe, we want to hear that one too. God.
Or the attic with the haunted doll.
Dang, I don't know about that one.
Or that
might be
one
too
that
scary.
that one that you took home and the next day.
Dang.
Not so pretty. Turn into a devil.
So shape shift into a wolf. God.
Oh man. Well, I think we'll wrap it up on this one. But yeah, everybody send us your stories. Let us
Send 'em
know.
in.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know your experiences or whatever, and we'll read them and talk about them. And yeah, so thanks for the interactions, everybody. That was fun. Go like our Facebook page, Unsolved Reservation, Unsolved Mysteries of the Reservation, on Facebook, and then Unsolved Reservation Mysteries on Instagram. Go like them right now. So yeah, anything you guys want to plug up or anything?
If you get a chance, check me out on Instagram at Christopher Honka Hill. Honka spelled Hunkv. And again, I got some paranormal stuff on there that you definitely won't want to miss. Oh.
Yeah, you can hit me up on Skoden Cinema. It's just Skoden_cinema at Instagram. We also have the Facebook page. Been trying to share more stuff on there, so yeah, just be looking for that. Motto.
Yeah, check me out. Okie Podcast, available everywhere. Apple, Spotify, Instagram, Okie Podcast, Facebook, Okie Podcast, website, okiepodcast.com. And remember, everybody, respect your local neighborhood ghosts. All right, stay spooky. Bye.